Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is James and this is Laverne, and you are watching Wonderful World. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are not new to the channel, I really appreciate you being here. Today I realized that I have made several videos where I made references to ABG mix when I talked about substrate for your vivariums. And at the same time, I have not explained to you what that is or shown you how to make it. So that's what I'm going to do in today's video. So stay tuned and I'll be right back and we'll make some ABG mix. ABG mix was first developed by the Atlanta Botanical Gardens, and so that's how it got its name. And it has been just the standard substrate in the terrarium and vivarium hobby for many years. And the reason it is an excellent substrate and what is really important to understand about it is that any of its individual components do not by themselves make a good substrate, but when mixed together, it becomes a super functional, excellent substrate for your vivariums. It has excellent drainage so that your plants don't drown in a soggy substrate. It retains water so that your plants love it, and it boosts the humidity and creates a tropical environment. It resists compaction, so with so much spongy kind of fibrous material in the mix, it's able to stay well aerated and resist compaction over time. And it also gives places for your microfauna to thrive. And it also is long lasting. It is made of material that doesn't break down as quickly, so it can last for many years before it loses its functionality. So what I've put here is the original recipe for ABG mix from the Atlanta Botanical Gardens. And then next to that, I've put my recipe, which I've adjusted just a little bit. And the original recipe is 1 part sphagnum moss, 2 parts tree fern fiber, 2 parts orchid bark, 1 part peat moss, and 1 part charcoal. And my recipe is not all that different. The only difference is tree fern fiber is really hard to find, and when you can find it, it's expensive. And what my research has shown is that there are some ethical issues that surround the sustainability of tree fern fiber as a product. So I just leave that out, and I don't think it really makes a real big difference. The other difference in my recipe is I have replaced the peat moss with coconut coir, and peat moss breaks down faster than coconut coir. Peat moss can also become more compact and hard when it dries. So I feel like coconut coir is a better solution than the peat moss. The other thing I have added to my mixture is I just add 1 part of compost from my compost bin in the back by my garden. And I do that for 2 reasons. For one thing, it just gives, if you notice most of the components of the original recipe, there is really, even though it doesn't break down, there's also nothing really to decompose and give the plants any nutrition. So I add some garden compost for some nutrition for the plants. And I think it also just helps to jumpstart some of the bioactivity. Making the ABG mix is really easy and simple. You just need your coconut coir, and this usually comes in a heavy brick, and you have to hydrate it in water until it soaks all the water up and can fall apart. And then you have this fluffy mixture. And you'll need sphagnum moss. And what I do, I take the sphagnum moss and I use a pair of scissors and I cut it up into just a whole lot of little pieces. And I feel like the longer fibers usually don't mix into the substrate well. And then what else you're going to need is the orchid bark. And for this, I like to use the Zoomed Reptibark. And then you'll need some garden compost. If you don't have that, it's probably not the end of the world. I like to add it. And lastly, you'll just need some charcoal. You can use regular, just lump charcoal. It has to be just straight charcoal with nothing added to it. I splurged a little bit here and got some activated charcoal, like the charcoal they use in fish tank filters. So here I'm just using a tub to mix this together, and I have 2 parts Reptibark. And to that I add 1 part coconut coir and 1 part compost and 1 part charcoal and 1 part sphagnum moss. And after you mix this all together, you should have something that feels light and fluffy and airy. And this will create a perfect environment for the reptiles and amphibians in your vivariums. Your plants will thrive in it, and your bioactive microfauna will thrive in it. So it's really as simple as that. And I hope you guys learned something. I hope this is useful for you. If it is, do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe button. Your support really helps me a lot. And until the next video, I look forward to seeing you again real soon.